All right, I'm doing a video on more Bible related stuff. Before I do, just got to say, check out this shirt. It's pretty cool. Can, right? We can't go to heaven because we're all sinners, and yet Jesus took our cross, and so therefore we can. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. Anyway, I just want to talk to you today about Logos. I'm going to switch over to my Mac screen here. So, all right, so Logos is really cool. There's a lot of neat stuff you can do. It is expensive to get a lot of resources, in my opinion, to make it worthwhile. I got it because I'm mainly to help for Bible translation. Of course, I found it to be very helpful for studying the Bible. I used to do almost everything on eSword, and now I've basically switched over to Logos for most stuff. So one of the cool things is you can make these guides. I'll just kind of show you. I have, for example, an exegetical sermon guide here. So let's say I want to do a sermon on Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. I have created all these steps. Okay, so um, I'm actually going to make a new one because this one is, I already walked through some of the steps. So let's just say Genesis 1 1 to 2. I'm going to do a sermon on. Bear with me. I'm sorry, folks. All right. All right, so let's say I have all these notes. I tell myself to make a computer document and a notepad, basically, a writing notepad, right? Then I'm done. I can hit continue. Brings up the next one. I have a note here that tells me to explore the context, and I customize this text. So I wrote notes for here to check like commentary, book introductions, context of the text, Bible project videos. Then I've set it up to give all these little things. So you have these biblical events, and it'll give these entries for things: creation in the fall, biblical people, the Holy Spirit, and give you cross references to show pictures and art. If there was like a biblical place, it might show you some pictures of a biblical place. Biblical things, you have the earth. It'll have this is pretty cool. This will show you kind of, I guess, the ancient Hebrew concept of the universe. That's pretty cool. Just stuff like that. Who knows how much stuff there is really in here. I found some really cool stuff on the Dead Sea Scrolls the other day when I was studying Isaiah, from one of these things, cultural concepts. So I have a note here. I tell myself to preliminarily read the text. I read all the major TR translations, the King James. I even read the Geneva. Doesn't mean I agree with every translation choice in all these translations, but I just do that, and I write stuff down. I have another note here. It tells me to dig into the text. I tell myself to go back and check notes. I read it slowly. Now then, there's feature in here called word for word. So I have an exegetical guide here. I customize this guide. And what it'll do is it'll bring up the Hebrew text and the Greek text. I'm sorry, Hebrew and English or Greek and English, whatever I'm using. So I can click here, and this first word in Hebrew, Bereshith means in the beginning. It breaks down the word, so it's ba, which means in, and reshith, which means the beginning, and it'll tell me the gender of the noun. It'll all sorts of stuff, and then there are all these different lexicons that I can look at, and I can look at. I really like it for the verbs too. So for verbs, for example, created is a call stem in Hebrew. It just means it's a perfect tense, basically simple perfect kind of. Tell me the person, the gender. Like if we were to do an exegetical guide, for example, on John 3:16, you can find some really interesting stuff. Like for example, the word perish is actually an aorist middle voice, which is interesting. Middle voice, and I even see here I can pull it up. It'll tell me what a grammatical middle voice, which signifies the subject of the verb is being affected by its own action or is acting upon itself. So people who perish, it's because really of their own choices, which is interesting. Um, like for example, let's look at John 3:17. For God sent not his son into the world to. Now this word to here, this preposition hina means in order that or so that, and it emphasizes purpose. So God did not send his son into the world for the purpose of condemning the world, but, and here's the same word, see the same preposition, you can read it, for in order that, or so that, or for the purpose of the world through him might be saved. So these are just some really cool things. You can look at the verb here. It'll tell me it's present, active, subjunctive. I can put some things over here. I love this. It just brings me up references to like grammars and dictionaries and stuff. So those are my exegetical guides. Like here over here, it tells me to check all my cross references. And I have a cross reference section here in my exegetical guide. Then I have a little thing over here. I love getting to hit those buttons, by the way, when I finish those steps. I have all these commentaries, like I have the NET Bible notes, and I don't even have to pull up in a window. It'll just show me things. Most of these first two I use mostly for my Hebrew translation class and stuff like that. It's really more technical stuff. I have different study Bibles. I have Gill, whatever. I have a ton here, more than really that I even can make use of. I on my steps for my sermon guide here, I have notes here because I have other things that are not in Logos that I still like to reference. Of course, then I have things here about writing a bulk of sermons. You can customize this however you want, and there's all sorts of things that you can do on there. For example, like if you wanted to edit this, let me I'm just trying to show you some things that you can do. Like, see, these are all the things that I put in here. So let's just add something. I'll have to remember to delete this later. These are all the things that I can add. I don't know why there's a Catholic topical index there. Anyway, concordance, courses, faith life sermons, grammatical constructions. I use these a lot, quite a bit. Actually, I think I have some of them over here. Important words, journals, outlines. Textual variants. There's so much stuff you can literally do on this. I don't know what visualizations are. I haven't even gotten like half of the things that you can really do on here. I can look at parallel Bibles. I can do, there's a fact book here. So for example, I found something really good the other day in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Let me see if I can't find, look, okay, so then this is from the Lexham Bible Dictionary. These are pictures of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Dictionary reference. Then it'll bring, it'll bring up all these, it'll search through your library of your resources for whatever you're wanting to find information from, and it'll bring up the relevant resources and put them in this window. So anyway, I like Logos. Again, you got to spend some money initially, but it's really, I used to do everything with eSword because it's free, but I just find that I can do a little bit more on Logos, especially with Hebrew and Greek. But I would highly encourage, especially if you're interested or you have intentions of getting into Greek and Hebrew. I think personally, people who are going to the ministry are going to be teaching. I would highly recommend people like that to study Hebrew and Greek. It's enriched my Bible study, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do on Logos. It is kind of expensive. I'm going to do my next video probably on eSword. eSword is cheaper, but it can't do as much. Doesn't have the options as many resources, not nearly as powerful. But anyway, I thank you for your time in watching this video. Hope you have a nice day.